Boom, welcome back to the Stomping Grounds, aka K-Pop West, aka Superstar. Now, we just finished up our group, me, Maddie, and Greg, and we had Steve there. And one of the things I resonated with the most was one of the guys on the inside. He was mentioning how he has a fear of failure, right? Fear of failure. Now, I have a lot of fears in this world. I don't like spiders, snakes, fear of roller coasters, shit like that, right? For me, fear of failure just doesn't make sense, and I feel like that's an excuse. Let me explain. So, I'm a drug addict. I started smoking pot when I was 15, maybe 14, and then I started popping pills, and then I started heroin, meth, whatever, blah, 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 going down the line, right? I graduated high school with a 1.6 GPA because on the last test for history class or whatever the fuck it was, I think the teacher felt bad for me, so he put like all of the finished tests from the class before like on the desk right in front of me, like where you would turn it in, and then he kind of sat me right there, and I copied the test, right? And I passed high school. I graduated. Now, I failed at high school. I failed at trying to get clean. I failed at trying to go to college. I failed at a lot of relationships. I failed at making my parents happy. I failed at probation. I failed at a lot of fucking shit, right? So a lot of people will say that they have a fear of failure, but if you're a drug addict, chances are you've been failing your whole fucking life, right? So if you've been doing something for so long, how do you have a fear of it? That it just doesn't make sense, right? So we were breaking it down, and a lot of men, especially when they're surrounded by other guys, they will never admit what they truly have a fear of, right? And they have a motherfucking fear of putting in real hard work. They have a fear of responsibility. They have a fear of having to be financially manageable. They have a fear of consistency. They have a fear of having to be a stand-up guy. They have a fear of having to be independent. But there's no fucking such thing as a fear of failure, right? I've been failing my whole fucking life. Anyone that's ever done something has been failing their whole fucking life. So I was sitting there talking to this guy, and we came to the point in the discussion where we brought up the fact that you're not afraid of failure. You're afraid of doing the shit that you gotta do in order to be great. You're afraid of making sacrifices. You have a fear of going out there in the world and actually doing something. As a drug addict, we like to think of ourselves as we had such a struggle, right? We've had such a hard time in life. I have a fear of failure. I have a fear of accomplishment. I have a fear of being great, right? All these different fears. Dude, at the end of the day, everything that I ever got in my life as a drug addict, that was a case of that happened to me because I did a bunch of shit that made me have a bunch of bad shit, right? So I was never afraid of failure. I was never afraid of accomplishing great things. I was afraid of being a fucking man and putting the fucking work in, right? I was afraid that the success fairy was never gonna come my way and do this shit for me. So I heard that tonight, and it instantly resonated with me, and 100% made me think back to the same excuses that I would make in active addiction, right? Dude, you gotta cut that shit out like fucking cancer, like it's a fucking tumor. You need to stop lying to yourself and say that you have a fear of failure. You don't have a fear of failure. You have a fear of doing real shit. You have a fear of having to take tiny little steps every single fucking day to accomplish one thing. I'll say that again. You have a fear of doing the little work that doesn't deserve any recognition or any sense of accomplishment. You have a fear of doing that shit to achieve something great. You want everything handed to you on a fucking platter, right? That's what we're used to, especially in addiction. A lot of us grew up with great fucking lives. All right, let's not bullshit. A lot of us grew up, two parents. They both had jobs. We never missed a meal. You know, we had that shit growing up. A large majority of addicts, right? It just is what it is. Dude, stop lying to yourself. You don't have a fear of failure. You've been failing your whole fucking life. You have a fear of getting that shit done. You have a fear of you're not able to do that shit. You have a fear of yourself thinking you're not capable of doing anything. Go out there and get that shit done, one thing at a time. Andy Frisella said, and we were talking about this tonight, dude, you got to be real with yourself. If you have trouble brushing your teeth twice a day, put that on your list of what you need to accomplish, right? If you're the type of person that doesn't wash their hands after they take a piss, make that something that you master. You have a fear of doing the right thing for the right reasons. If you were never able to hold down a job for more than 6 months, do that. If you have a fear that you'll never become rich, do that. If you have a fear that you can't get the shit done, then get that shit done. Because I promise you, one thing you don't have is a fear of failure.